So this happened probably around 10 to 11 years ago, when I was 15/16. For a little backstory, the legal drinking age in my country is 18. So if you want alcohol and didn't have fake ID or a parent to get it for you, then you had to wait around outside the off-license, liquor store for the Americans, until someone came by who agreed to go in and purchase the alcohol for you. So we waited around, found someone who was willing to go in and buy our alcohol for us, and got him to purchase a few bottles of vodka for me and few friends, 2 of which I was with, and the others we were meeting after we'd done this. Now, as it was around 6 p.m, we decided it was too much of a risk to decant our vodka into less suspicious-looking bottles in the middle of the street, as it was very busy, so we did what we would usually do in this situation, and found a nearby food place to quickly run in and use the bathroom to decant our alcohol so we could be on our way. This time, we chose to do this in a nearby McDonald's we'd done it in before, so we knew it was a safe bet. So we go into McDonald's and head straight for the bathroom, as we'd done a million times before. As we get into the bathroom, me and my other 2 friends, we'll call them Harriet and Cara, all occupy one cubicle to get the job done and get out and back to our drinking ASAP. And as I previously mentioned, we'd done this lots of times before and usually opted to come in to this McDonald's, as it was usually busy, which meant no one paid attention to 3 teenagers running straight into the toilet without purchasing anything. So anyway, we're all in there doing our thing when I could suddenly hear a lot of shifting and moving around above us. I figured it was possibly the air conditioning and opted not to tell my friends, as I thought it would freak them out. We get the job done, and as we're about to leave the cubicle, we hear a giggle and, "Where are you girls off to?" I was presenting as female at the time. I looked up and see the forehead and eyes of a male who looked to be about 30 just staring out from underneath a tile in the ceiling that he'd slightly lifted. We were all in shock, just staring at this guy who proceeded to giggle down at us and ask our names, where we were going, and if he could come. We're all in shock because, let's be honest, who really expects there to be some random guy in the ceiling of a McDonald's? Being a teenager who thought I was untouchable, I proceeded to tell the guy that he was a perv and to fuck right off. The guy seemed to enjoy this and giggled a little more, still shifting around in the ceiling, never taking his eyes off of us. Now I should probably mention that along with pouring our drink into other bottles, we pre-rolled a few joints, so we were terrified to alert anyone at this point, as we were young and terrified of our parents finding out. The guy still staring at us proceeds to ask questions like, "What age are you guys? Where do you live? Can I have some of your drink? A smoke of your weed?" Still all the while twitching and fidgeting overhead. He then started to lift the tile, and as we were all stuck in a cubicle with this guy above us, we knew the only way for him to get down was to come down directly on top of us, so we noped out at that point pretty quickly. We went outside and discussed what we were going to do, and I decided to go back in and alert someone, as it's a very busy McDonald's, and I knew there would be women and children in and out of the toilet until closing time. I didn't want to risk that creep staying up there just to spy on them, especially since I knew he was there and had witnessed his behaviour firsthand. So I go in, tell a member of staff that I'd been in the toilet for a long while taking a phone call. Terrible lie, but my 15/16-year-old brain was too scared to tell the truth in case they alerted the police, and that's when the guy had appeared, and to my shock, they were completely unsurprised. They were just pissed off more than anything. I seen a few male members of staff enter the toilet, and I figured they could handle it from there, so I went on my way. We still went into that McDonald's, but never had any encounters with ceiling guy again. We're not even sure if the guy got caught, as we didn't hear anything about it afterwards. So, to the creepy guy in the ceiling watching the girls' bathroom with a bird's eye view, let's not meet ever again. A couple of months ago, While house sitting / dog sitting for my parents, I had an eerie feeling. As an obsessive ID channel watcher and younger female, I played it off as paranoia. During these few days, whenever I took the dog out, he suddenly began sniffing areas he never sniffed before, particularly under each of our windows. And thankfully, it's because of him that I discovered 2 larger footprints under a window that looks directly into our living / dining room. Around this time, about 2 months ago, I noticed a man walking up and down our street that I'd never seen in the entirety of my life. Small, Midwestern town. He also had, in my opinion, odd mannerisms, prolonged eye contact, continued staring and craning his neck as he walked by, and never returned my smiles, hellos, or waves. Eventually, I became irritated due to how creeped out I was with both him and the eerie feeling in general, and decided to wave. Upon no acknowledgement in return, other than a cold stare, I got up and acted like I was going to follow him down the street, to which made him walk faster and turn a sudden corner. Never saw him again. Now today, I help my parents out by picking up their dog from the groomers. As it's right up the street and a safe suburban area, oftentimes I don't lock while running errands in town. When I returned home with the dog, I had an unexplained, horrible feeling the minute I walked in the door. Something, maybe a blanket, seemed misplaced. Something was off. I threw a load of laundry on in the basement and quickly stood up and looked around. No one there. Then I proceed to the bathroom to check my makeup, and right then I look down to my left and there's feces in the toilet, with no toilet paper and not flushed. I've been the only one home all morning. I immediately throw back the shower curtain and start shaking. Adrenaline? And when nothing is there, I close the bathroom door and lock myself inside. I called dispatch. They arrived in less than 2 minutes. Searched the entire property. Make me check my laptop to see if any recent search history isn't my own. Interesting. And check the fridge to see if food is missing. All valuables are accounted for. I know this isn't my feces. No one in my family would have a bowel movement and not use toilet paper or flush. I know someone has been here. Yet, because I love horror movies and the ID channel, they think I'm crazy. Hey, dude, I now have my dad's hunting / fillet knife on me, so let's not meet. This just happened to me a few nights ago and I am still shaken up. So bear with me. I am a female bartender at a small cafe that doubles as a venue. During the day, we serve coffee and lunch, and at night we have a full bar with bands, comedy shows, etc. On this night, there was an open mic comedy show. Not a lot of comedians showed up, so we ended up closing up shop early, and I was ready to go home. I had a patron come in and order a single beer during the comedy show. He was acting nervous, but being a female bartender, I get male customers that are shy or don't want to talk to women, so I didn't think much about it. He sat down, sipped his beer, and watched the show. Since we closed early, everyone was pretty much gone, and I wanted to lock up and clean so I could get home. After I escorted the last couple out of the bar and got ready to lock the door, I see the man from earlier walk down the back hallway and into the men's restroom. Not even a minute later, he bursts through the door, yelling, "Hurry! Come back here! I need help!" I stood at the opposite end of the hallway and asked him what was wrong. "The toilet is overflowing. There's water all over the floor. Help me clean this up." I could tell that something was wrong, and I replied, "It's okay, man, it happens. I'll mop it up. I'm just trying to close up right now." He continued to argue with me, trying to get me to come into the bathroom with him, as I stood about 20 feet away down the hallway. Finally, he walks towards me very aggressively and tries to grab my arm. "You need to come back here now," he says. I immediately put my hands out in front of me so he cannot come any closer, and I tell him he has to leave. He walks outside and I lock the door behind him. I check the bathroom and it's completely spotless, no water on the floor at all. I flush the toilet and urinal and they are both working fine. I start to get nervous, and I take my large pocket knife and clip it to the waistband of my pants, just in case. As I'm cleaning our espresso machine and putting toppers on the liquor bottles, I hear a tapping noise. I look up at the front of the store, which is one big window that has a few curtains covering it. The same man is tapping on the window, waving at me and laughing like a maniac. I watch him walk over to the door and pull on it. It doesn't open since I had locked it after he left. He starts screaming and pounding on the glass, saying, "Open the fucking door, I'm going to fucking kill you." Fight overcame flight at this point, and I walked around the counter, and about 6 feet from the door, I pulled out my knife and locked eyes with him, and yelled, "I'm calling the cops, get the fuck out of here." He smiled and walked out of view of the window. At this point, all of my adrenaline just crashed. I locked myself in the office and called 911, crying, explaining that I'm alone and a man tried to lure me into the bathroom and was outside trying to get into my bar. I waited an hour and a half. No police showed up. I called my boyfriend and he drove up to the shop. My manager watched the security cameras from home, making sure that the man didn't come back. I did the deposit and immediately drove home, my boyfriend following close behind me. My male busboy has been coming into work with me, so I'm not alone, and the managers have been keeping an eye on the security cameras while I'm working. So, crazy dude who tried to lure me into the bathroom to do God knows what to me, let's not meet.